Welcome back into our 2023 Spring Graduate Senior Spotlights. Today joining me, a sports information major, Colin Rhodes. He's done a ton of work not only in the communication department, but has also been tackled with quite a few things outside of it. We're going to talk about that all today. And Colin, first things first, obviously you transferred from a different college coming here to Waynesburg. What made you want to leave where you had been and come here to Waynesburg?
Yeah, so I went to Westmoreland County Community College for 2 years before this. Of course, since that's what's called a junior college or a 2-year school, you kind of have to transfer after your sophomore year if you want to continue your education. I initially was a criminal justice major of all things, but after my fall semester freshman year, I actually decided I didn't want to become a police officer like I originally had. And after a lot of just thinking, sort of self-evaluation, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to become a sports writer. And so I looked for schools that had something that would get me there. I looked also for schools that had faith as a major part of it, and I found Waynesburg University. And part of the reason that I found out about this was there's a family that goes to my church back home. Their son went here about 10 years ago, and he went on to do some great things, basically in the same field. So that encouraged me to come here knowing that there's a great program, it's a Christian university, and there's going to be a lot of success if you come here.
So obviously you're involved with the Yellow Jacket, being one of the assistant sports editors here, but also you write for the OR as well. What really got you into writing and being able to not only write here at the university, but also step out and write for some other sports outside of here?
Yeah, so I just really enjoy writing, and so that's why I decided to do sports writing as a career. I got the job with the Observer Reporter through my internship, actually, at the Washington Wild Things. Chris Dugan, the sports editor, was the beat writer for the Washington Wild Things at the OR, so I saw him basically every game I was there. And he knows Professor Krause, who was my advisor, and the two of them were just, catching up with each other, talking, and I came up in their conversation, actually, and Professor Krause put in a good word. Chris Dugan just came to me within, I think it was the last week of my internship, and said, I'd like you to write for the Observer Reporter. And so filled up the paperwork and just started writing for them as a stringer, which is like a part-time basis where you write whenever they ask you to. And so that's how I started writing for the OR.
And obviously you refer to your internship with the Washington Wild Things this past summer. Obviously you're here in the fourth floor with all the guys that go to Waynesburg, but over there at the Wild Things Park, you were able to stick with that group of people. So talk a little bit about what you did and what it was like being able to work with the same people you go to school with.
Yeah, so I was a media relations intern there. Most of the comm guys from Waynesburg were actually more on the broadcast side of things. I was on the writing, sort of, because most of what I did was media, like news releases, and just handling the needs of the media that were visiting at the games. But I did spend a lot of time hanging out with the guys, and I thought we had a really good culture in there. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of just unity, a lot of just really good combination and everything. We just very smooth productions, very just enjoyable, I'll say that.
So obviously with this internship, you gained a lot of experience. You were able to make that connection with the Observer Reporter. And that's a big thing here. We're all about making connections on the fourth floor. And you referred to Professor Krause being your advisor. What other professors, or you can even touch on Professor Krause, how much he helped you down your college career, who was the most beneficial to you?
Well, I mean, I would have to say Professor Krause. I ended up having, I think it was at least five or six classes with him in my 2 years here at Waynesburg University. And it was really just, we formed a friendship, I would say. And part of that was because of the small classes mixed with the number of classes that I had with him. And I'd always be asking for feedback. He'd always be willing to give it. And he never gives like bad feedback. He always gives constructive criticism, and he encourages you when you're doing something right. And so that was a big reason why I think he was the most influential of my time here. I also think Melinda, she is very influential as well. I had a couple classes with her. Very much just enjoyed the classes. She's very sweet as a professor. Just very encouraging too, and never really felt like I was not being taught something in this department.
And that's another great thing about the department is we have those professors that have the hands-on experience in the real field of careers. And just kind of to touch more about what you do here at Waynesburg, you help out a lot with the ministry side of things. Talk about, you allude to, faith was a big part of coming to Waynesburg as well. Talk a little bit about what you do here in terms of faith and what you do within the ministry department.
Yeah, so I'm a campus ministry assistant. What it is just a student position who works with campus ministry to, mainly it's leading Bible studies, but we also have the initiative to try and make relationships and evangelize on campus. Unfortunately, I didn't get to as much of the rest of that as I wanted to. It was mostly just leading Bible studies, but I still built relationships with other CMAs, with the people that attended those Bible studies. And it was a great way, I think, to be involved with my faith here at Waynesburg University, and also just like to grow in it through leading. I learned a lot just by leading Bible studies with other CMAs, and just learning from and listening to the stories of other people on this campus.
And you took on a role this year being the producer of our faith-based show here on WCTV, The Journey. What was kind of the route that made you, number one, want to produce, but number two, how did the semester, would you say, went from your producer position?
I mainly decided to become the producer of it because I thought this would be a good thing to expand my skill set. And in some ways, I want to become like a jack of all trades, which isn't a bad thing, especially in the comm field, because there's so many things you can do. If you can do a lot of them well, you're going to go far. So that's sort of why I decided to become producer of The Journey for my senior year here. Also, just because Rebecca Vaughn sort of convinced me to do it, but I was willing to do it. It was a little tough at times because at one point I just came to the conclusion I'm probably not going to be working in TV, and in a way it affected how I produce because it sort of pushed it a little back to close to the bottom of my list of responsibilities because I did have a lot, writing for the Yellow Jacket, writing for the OR, campus ministry, stuff like that. But I still made sure that I fulfilled my duties in that. I made sure that I was doing everything I could to fulfill that. And I think it went really well for what I did and how the department helped out. Had a lot of just great people working on set and the crew.
So with Waynesburg, obviously you're getting ready to walk across the stage, head out your way with that degree. What is one thing that you're going to miss most about Waynesburg University?
I'd have to say the people. I've made a lot of friends here. A lot of them are actually younger than me. A lot of them are sophomores this year because I kind of came in the same time as they did. And so I'm going to miss the friends I've made here. I'm going to miss the people, the atmosphere, sort of just how faith is involved in everything. But I understand the whole point of coming to a school like this is to prepare you for the real world. And I do feel like I'm being prepared, and I'm very excited to see what's out there.
So obviously your next step after getting graduation is looking for a career to go into. What's the next step for Colin Rhodes? What are you looking to get yourself into after graduation?
I'm hoping to become a professional sports writer. Full-time would be best, but I understand maybe part-time would be the next stepping stone. I understand that it's going to take a lot of commitment. I understand it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of learning, a lot of just being able to listen to and do what my bosses want me to do. And I'm ready to do that. I'm very excited to get off on that step.
And obviously I asked you what thing you're going to miss most about the university as a whole, but what are you going to miss most about being here in Buell on the 4th floor with everybody here?
Just the good times, honestly, like talking about sports, talking about producing TV shows, talking about the Yellow Jacket. I think that we do have just a good culture here overall. I do miss I do wish I was involved a little more with certain things, especially on the Yellow Jacket, since that's the writing side, and I do want to become a sports writer as a career. But I do think I'll miss the friends I've made here, such as yourself, such as the other seniors in this department. I do think I will just miss the fun we've had talking about, doing the NFL draft, the live draft segments like we did last night. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to just miss honestly, the professors a lot. I'm going to miss Professor Krause. I'm going to miss Melinda. I'm even going to miss Professor Schiffbauer a little. I had a lot of classes with her and gotten to know her a little, but I'm going to miss the people mostly.
Well, Colin, I hope to see you one day writing for ESPN or some other big company out there sports-wise. But also, congratulations, by the way, a new engaged man. Hope to see all your future endeavors pan out for you. And again, just congratulations on being able to walk across that stage in the next coming days. But that's going to do it all for this Senior Spotlight here on WCTV. Stay tuned for the rest of our graduating class in 2023.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.